Hey, it's me, Ajeski, and today we are finally getting around to talking about the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I know I'm a little late, and everybody else has really talked about this movie before me, but I think it's finally time I really get around to saying my thoughts about the movie as a whole. Before we start, though, I will have to ask you to please like and sub, as it really helps out the channel. Let's see if we can get to 200 subscribers sooner than later. Anyways, let's hop right into the video. So, to answer the question on everybody's mind, do I think this is actually a good movie? And I would argue, yeah, it's a pretty alright movie. However, there are some pretty major drawbacks from it that hold it back from being a truly great movie. But before we really get into the negatives, I really want to go over some things that I really enjoyed about the movie. To start off with, I think the visuals are actually spectacular. I mean, it's undeniable. This movie is an amazing looking movie, and it's definitely Illumination's best looking movie they've probably ever made, to be completely honest. There's also the animation, and the animation is actually amazing. The usage of squash and stretch is very well done. Also, the storyboards are impressive. This is truly a beautiful looking movie. The animation is very well done. Its environments, its style, it really captures the sense of Mario games from the games, and honestly, it makes them look 10 times better. This genuinely looks the part of a Mario movie. Also, the casting for this movie is actually amazing. The casting of Jack Black as Bowser is chef's kiss, perfect. The people who were in charge of the casting this movie did an excellent job. And the one I was really worried about was Chris Pratt as Mario, but honestly, he caught me off guard. He did a fantastic job. Of course, it's a lot different than the games, but different isn't always bad. I think it's pretty good, to be honest. And honestly, looking back, I don't think he deserved as much hate as he ended up getting over it. I think he did a very good job. Charlie Day also does a fantastic job as Luigi. He's very likable, he's kind of goofy, but it's not overdone. They have also a very good chemistry together, Chris Pratt and Charlie Day. They actually have a lot of good chemistry, and they kind of bounce off each other, really do feel like brothers in a sense. It's also pretty cleverly written. It's not actually that dumb, honestly. The humor's a lot smarter than most Illumination movies. It's actually pretty funny at points, actually. Another one of the movie's greatest strengths is its soundtrack. Koji Kondo did an immaculate job with this movie. Not only did he do a great job with this movie, but so did Jack Black. If I remember correctly, one of the top songs as of now is a song from this movie called Peaches by Jack Black. Where he basically sings about how he wants to get married to Princess Peach. It's really goofy and funny, and as of now, it's trending. I also adore the video game remixes for this movie. It's so well done. I just love the whole orchestral feel to it. It adds such a nice little flavor to it. Overall, the soundtrack is just fantastic. I would have liked a few more songs. Maybe have Luigi, when he gets captured, sing a little weird version of the Mario Bros. Plumbing song they have at the beginning of the movie, and it's kind of bad as a joke. Other than that, though, this is perfect. As you can see, this movie has a lot of strengths to it. It's visually appealing, the soundtrack is great, the casting is great, at points the writing is pretty good. There's a lot of strengths to this movie. However, there are some major negatives that I will get into right now. The first problem I had with this movie isn't really a major problem, it's more of a nitpick, but I would say that the Power Star isn't really necessary to the plot in any way. It kind of just acts as a Deus Machina to the finale, where it's basically used to beat the main villain. It really doesn't have much of a major impact on the story outside of that. Really, it could have been taken out of the movie and not really had that much of an effect. Another little nitpick I have is with the licensed songs. I don't think the licensed songs really fit very well with this movie, to be honest. It's weirdly distracting. Thunderstruck did not work well in a Mario movie. Maybe in any other Illumination movie it would probably be fine, but a Mario movie specifically does not fit, at all. Another little nitpick of mine is they go to extreme lengths to explain why Mario wears gloves in this movie. It doesn't need to be explained, okay? It's a cartoon movie, it doesn't need to be explained why he wears gloves. It's like explaining why Mickey Mouse wears gloves. There's no point. Now we lead into my major problems with this movie, and there are a few. The biggest one by far, though, is that they should not have separated Mario and Luigi for most of this movie. It is downright the weakest part of this movie. They should have kept them together for the entirety of the movie. If they were worried about stretching the plot thin, I would have cut Toad's part down extremely. there's no point to them being separated for most of the movie. They could have just had Mario, Luigi, and Peach be the ones to go on the big journey instead of Mario, Toad, and Peach, and have Luigi be in a cage. They set up this great character arc between Mario and Luigi, and they almost do nothing with it up until the end. So at the end, when it's supposed to be the big payoff, it doesn't really feel as gratifying because we haven't spent much time with Mario and Luigi, and we really don't know their dynamic. I mean, the most we spend with them up until the main plot is about like 5 to 10 minutes. It's not enough time to really have an understanding of their character arc. And sure, it's set up well for sure, but they don't do a lot with it, or as much as I'd hope they would have. Now, when it comes to talking about the character arc that I just mentioned between Mario and Luigi, I'm gonna lean into a little spoiler territory. You see, early on in the movie, everybody kind of just like frowns upon Mario's aspirations of being a plumber. Like, his whole family really does not believe in him, not even his own mother believes in him. The only one who really has any faith in him is Luigi. Mario's father actually says something that's really interesting. It puts Mario in a much more interesting light than he has ever been portrayed in the games, for sure. You see, his father says that he's dragging Luigi down with him into this pit of just despair, pretty much, and it really gets to Mario, and it makes you understand Mario as a character much more, and why he's so driven. He's just so driven to prove everybody wrong, that he is in fact a hero of his own making. And I think that's what this movie was really trying to accomplish. The only problem with that is they don't have the time to do it properly. They're constantly spending it doing other stuff, and they split Mario and Luigi up, which is the main relationship of the movie, or that's what it's supposed to be, but it doesn't really feel like it has any payoff. Another scene I really want to bring up from this movie is towards the end of the movie, where Mario is thrown into the TV from the very beginning, where he is forced to watch this commercial again, and he kind of starts to doubt himself. This would have been a great moment had they not separated Mario and Luigi for the most of the movie. It really sucks that they did that. If they really wanted Mario to save Luigi, they could have just had Luigi get captured with all the other Kongs. So even then, it would have made more sense if they did that, to be honest. I mean, it would have given a lot more reason for Mario and Donkey Kong to actually connect. Back to that whole ending segment, though, I think the ending was kind of weak, too. I don't think they should have beaten Bowser with the star. I think Bowser should have gotten to the star, and I think he should have gotten the invincibility power-up. But I think Mario and Luigi should have beaten them without the star at all. I think they could have beaten him using their plumbing abilities or something. You know, maybe they caused a distraction long enough for, you know, Bowser to get distracted and him run out of the power energy so they could finally beat him down when he's out of power-ups. I think that kind of muddles the message a little bit. You know, the fact that they actually had to beat him using the power star. I think it would have been a much better finale had they just beat him without any power-ups at all. It would have been a much more gratifying finale, if you ask me, but that's just my interpretation. What do I know? I'm not a professional screenwriter. I'm just a guy who makes YouTube videos, so what do I know? My last major complaint is basically about the pacing. It really feels like this movie should have been longer. I think this movie should have been closer to 2 hours instead of 90 minutes, you know, an hour and a half movie. I think it should have been longer. I think it should have been a closer, you know, 2-hour movie. I don't know why they didn't do that, to be honest. It feels like a lot was cut from this movie that should have probably been there, to be honest. I think we should have spent a little bit more time with Mario before he enters the Mushroom Kingdom. I think they should have spent like maybe 15 more minutes. Not 15 more minutes, I mean like 15 minutes in general with Mario before he goes to the Mushroom Kingdom, and then we can spend a lot more time, you know, building up all these characters and their interactions. They set that up, actually, very well early on in the movie, but they just don't really do much with it. For example, Mario and Toad's interactions. Mario really seems to be annoyed by Toad at first, but then they just go to being friends, like, automatically. There's no, like, transition period at all. I would say that's basically all my major complaints of this movie. I guess that really just leads me to my conclusion. Overall, I think this movie is a pretty decent movie. I think there was a lot of things it could have done better, but for the most part, it does a lot of things very well. It's very well animated. The script isn't terrible. It has very nice visuals for sure. And the music is pretty great, okay? But there are some big weaknesses there that I think hold this back from being a truly great movie and prevented me from 110% enjoying this. However, I've seen the response from a bunch of people, and I'm glad a bunch of people have liked it. But that's basically my thoughts as a whole. If I have to be honest, I'm giving this movie like a 7 out of 10. It's alright. Not great, but not terrible either. I think that's pretty much all I have to say on this movie. If you liked it, please like and sub. It really helps out the channel. It was me and Jessica, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.